5 of the top reasons why we overshare. Not only do we need to be aware of why we do it, but the effect that we actually have on our date. Thank you so much for joining us again on Second Act TV. Once again, I want to welcome back Sandy Weiner, the dating coach, relationship expert, the founder of Last First Date, and author of Choice Points in Dating and Love at Last. Sandy, thank you for being here again.
Thanks for having me again.
Let me just really quickly give a plug to our new merchandise that will help support our channel. Just go to secondact.tv. We've got all kinds of stuff here. We happen to have our coffee cups. So to our topic today, oversharing. Instead of focusing today on really what it is, we want to talk about why we do this. It's such a huge mistake. Not only do we need to be aware of why we do it, but the effect that we actually have on our date.
Well, if you've ever been on a date with somebody who's oversharing, you can feel it in your body. It's like, oh my God, did I need to know all that right now? I just met you. So it can feel like emotional overload. Like you are dumping out all your trauma on me. I don't really want to hear this. It's too soon. We don't want to know your whole life story the minute we meet. It's too much.
Exactly, because you're going to turn them off. That's I think the key thing is you are running people off. And when I say you, I mean you. I was a big overshare, and to me it was a revelation that that's what I was doing and the effect it had. So let's talk about why do we do this? And the first point that you bring here is trust issues.
Yeah, if you've been hurt before, if you've been left, if you've been betrayed and you have a fear of betrayal or abandonment, you might find yourself oversharing as a way to test and see if the other person can be trusted. Are they going to still date me if they know everything about me? So it's instead of building trust, this type of sharing can feel really overwhelming, like we just said. And the truth is that they haven't earned that level of intimacy. So you end up pushing that person away, not because they don't care about you, but because they don't feel ready for those deeper parts of you.
And when you say that you're testing them, it's funny when I read these, and I want to say, I think I did all 5 of them at one point or another. But to me, it's like, I didn't know I was doing this. It's not, I don't think you're saying you're going on a date and saying, ooh, I'm going to test to see you're doing it subconsciously.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, most of what we do is unconscious. We think we need to share a lot about ourselves because that's how somebody's going to fall in love with us. Or I had a friend who said, I want to know everything about the person I'm dating right away. So if they had cancer, I want to know on the first date. If they have trust issues, tell me right away. And I'm like, no, no, don't do that. So I understand the desire to not have things hidden from you, but it comes with time. You don't want to know all the bad parts of a person or the flawed parts, or I wouldn't say bad parts, but people aren't ready to hear it all. When they like you, when they care about you, they care about all the parts.
Right. And yes, never believe anyone. I don't mean that as negative as it sounds when they say, oh no, I want to hear everything. They really don't. And they might not realize that they really don't until they hear it, if that
That's
makes any
true.
sense. Yeah. Lack of emotional boundaries. How do we achieve a lack of emotional boundaries?
Yeah, you grow up, and most of us grow up in homes where we didn't have healthy models for emotional boundaries. So, some parents overshared a lot. I just talked to a client today about this. My mother told me things I never wanted to hear, and you can't unhear them. And it's like too much of your personal life is shared. You may not know that if you want closeness, and again, this is unconscious,
Mhm.
if you want closeness, you think you have to be completely open all the time with people. You don't really understand boundaries because nobody ever taught you boundaries. And boundaries are not to block connection. They are there to protect what's important to you, to create that bubble around you that people don't get to come in until they know you well. So You need that space. Both of you need that space. Like when I've been on a date with somebody who's about to share something about an ex, and he stops himself from going too deep. I respect that so much because it shows that he has some emotional boundaries.
Yeah, and whoever tells you that openness, is just a good thing, people appreciate that. It's not, no, not necessarily. Certainly not
No.
on a first date. It can be absolutely overwhelming. Number three here, need for validation.
Yeah, I think that so many of us are on dates hoping that we're going to get chosen, we're going to be seen, we're going to be accepted, we're going to be liked, which is what we all really want. But sometimes we see oversharing as a way to get that external validation. So if we open up quickly, we hope our date is going to think, oh, I still like you in spite of your trauma.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Most people are not thinking that. Yeah, lasting connection is not built on getting the other person's validation. You have to have mutual discovery. You let somebody earn your deeper truths over time, not all at one time. It's too
Mm-hmm.
much. It's like a fire hose. Like when you share too much information, you're fire hosing somebody. I don't know if you ever heard that
Yeah,
term, but that's, yeah, it feels like the same thing, like too much, too
too
much,
much,
too
too
much,
much. Yeah.
warning, warning, danger.
I absolutely did that on several occasions. I laugh about it now when I think about it. And it never occurred to me that that was really troublesome or really overwhelming for the other person until I turned it around. Like, what if he or somebody, period, tells me all that? It's like, ooh, no. It's like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh, this is, you're not being vulnerable. You're just being obnoxious.
yeah, it's too much.
Yeah.
Too much too soon is not good.
Here, this is interesting. Fear of rejection. You overshare because of a fear of rejection.
Yeah. So if you've been rejected, which we all have, we often try to get ahead of that pain. I don't want to feel that again. So I'm going to overshare early, and if somebody knows everything about me up front, I'm not going to get hurt later. I'm just going to find out now. Like, let me dump it all out now so I don't get rejected in 3 months. So
Mhm,
let me get rejected on the first date, then I'll keep myself safe. And it feels like it's protection, but
mhm,
it actually pushes the other person away, and you probably will get rejected on the first date because the person will be feeling like it's too
mhm.
much.
I guess there's a difference between, having something to hide and just not letting it out, something that doesn't need to be said. And if it is something that ultimately will affect your relationship, if you go down relationship row, yeah, ultimately that has to come out. But on the first date, oh boy, that's a turn off. It's a real turn off if you start talking about some major like issues with your ex, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's probably one of the most common, isn't it?
Definitely, it's one of the most common. And you think about what questions people ask each other on a first date.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, were you ever married? Oh, what was the cause of your divorce? If you don't prepare your answers properly, you could just be vomiting out information that doesn't belong on that date. And some of this comes with healing. A lot of this comes with healing. I definitely shared things about my ex when I first started dating because I hadn't really healed enough
Mm-hmm.
yet. And I was just starting out. And I thought, well, I'm going to let everyone know that I was in this relationship where I was treated this way. And the honest truth is, it made me look like a victim. It
Mm-hmm.
made me look like somebody who was not dateable.
I think that as a word of caution too, it may be to men more so than women on this one is if a woman asks you, and see, I'm going to ask you if you agree with me, but we tend to ask, well, what did happen with your ex-wife or what happened with your girlfriend? I want to know. You can tell me, and then and next thing you know, he opens up. We don't want to know. We don't know that we don't want to know, but all we really want to know, especially early on, is how much you like to be with us. Great.
Yeah.
We do not want to hear, oh, yeah, I was so hurt. This is what she did. It's like, no, just don't. Even if you're encouraged to do so, don't. I've told that to a lot of men. Do you agree with me? It's okay if you don't.
Yeah, first of all, don't ask that question
Hmm.
because it opens up Pandora's box. So,
Yes.
what I recommend is saying, what did you learn from your last relationship? That is a much better question because you want to see, did they take away any important lessons? Are they taking responsibility for what they did? Because when you just say, oh, my ex was a horrible person, you're not taking any responsibility. You stayed in that relationship. You probably argued with that person. You didn't know how to communicate. You didn't leave early enough, whatever it was. And I'm not blaming people because I did the same thing.
Hmm.
But I'm saying that with healing comes, like, first of all, compassion for you for staying a long time, maybe in a relationship that didn't work because
Hmm.
you didn't have the skills you have today. So now with these new skills, that's all you want to know is, are you taking away the right lessons?
Hmm.
And what will you do next time that's different?
Well, number five, you're talking about communication, is what you say, communication struggles that, yeah, you don't know how to communicate right.
Yeah. So it may not be about trauma, but we just start saying too many things, right?
Hmm.
We can pour out so many details, hoping the other person is going to read between the lines and understand us
Hmm.
and really see us.
Hmm.
But it's really about clarity. Clarity is kind, learning how to communicate what you need simply and directly. That's a skill that I teach. It's worth practicing. And all of this does not have to happen if you have the right skills. So we can even overshare about something that happened that day. I'm telling too many details and the person's eyes glaze over.
Hmm.
That's another form of oversharing. Like, I don't need to know that you went to the store, bought a dress, and then saw a friend and had a conversation. Like, I don't know you. I mean, I dated
Yeah.
guys who would tell me about their grandchildren, like with so much detail that I don't even know you. I don't really
Right.
want to hear about your
No.
grandchild yet.
Hmm.
Yet. That's the point
Right.
is you're skipping a whole bunch of steps. You think that now I need to know about your genius grandchild who could be adorable and wonderful, but after we get to know each other.
Yeah, there's no connect. I think that also why we do that to this point is nervousness, especially on a first date. We don't know what to
Mm-hmm.
say and we just start blabbing. But by we, I mean both men and women. I think men might even do this more so than women because there's some guys that just won't shut up. On a first date, and I'm not blaming the guys, but it does tend to be more guys. But bottom line, it's nervousness or trying to make a good impression.
Yeah, and I'll say another point with why a lot of men talk a lot on a first date
Hmm.
is that they don't share like that with their male friends. When they get in front of a woman who's listening,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of women listen and don't interrupt and they don't say anything, duh, I have free reign. Now I can talk about myself. And they don't even realize a lot of times that they're just going on and on. So that's a safe space. So for
Mm-hmm.
women, I encourage women to interrupt because a lot of men don't even realize they're doing it. And to be kind to them, like they mean well a lot of times. They're not even aware that they feel so comfortable with you that they're just gonna keep talking.
Well, if any of these points struck you like they did me, like, okay, I can totally identify with that. Definitely revisit some of this or look into this deeper. What do we do about it, Sandy? What can we do instead? Is there a quick fix? Just shut up.
Patience is really important. It's one of the hardest things, but being
Hmm.
able to pace yourself in the relationship, pace your stories, pace getting to know somebody, to see them every single day of the week and talk to them for hours and hours and hours. There has to be a little mystery and a little like, that's what creates attraction. So
Hmm.
let your relationship evolve chapter by chapter, not read the whole book and then read the ending. It's like that's
Yeah.
what so many people do without even being aware. And understand boundaries because we talked about emotional boundaries and know that hiding some parts of you or not disclosing all parts of you is healthy. Another thing is to prepare your stories and prepare level 1, level 2, level 3. Here's the first way that I'm going to share this story about why I got divorced. Simple, tried to make it, we wanted to make it work. Unfortunately, we drifted apart.
Mhm.
And now I'm looking forward to finding a partner. That's it. How about you? And nothing more. Then the
Mhm.
next level is, well, we had infidelity and that came up. And again, we're not going into detail,
Mhm.
but then the next level could be like after you're in a relationship and you've built trust, then you could talk about the trauma and all that stuff, and you've been to therapy and
Yeah.
whatever. But if you're not prepared, you don't have the ability often to share it in layers like that.
Well, the key takeaway, I think, for me, even after reading this and talking with you, is that one, we don't, we don't realize the effect that we have on other people, and that we could be, well, we could prevent a potentially great relationship from ever evolving if we turn them off with oversharing, like I did. uh, yeah, it's futile, and I think you only recognize that if somebody points it out to you. So we're hoping that today's conversation might be an aha moment for you. But I'll let you close, Sandy. What would you like to add here?
Yeah, just to know that with the right person, you want to let things unfold over time. And the right person is not going to rush you. They're not going to say, tell me everything at once. They are going to be interested in the unfolding and the slow pace of how this thing becomes your last first date. That's really, to me, I think just trust in the process. Oversharing doesn't bring people closer, it often pushes people away.
Well, if you have issues with oversharing and you would like some of the help that Sandy has talked about today, you can pick up her book, Choice Points in Dating. I believe there's a section in there on that. Or get in touch with Sandy directly. She's obviously a fabulous coach, and all of her contact information is in the show notes below. And yeah, don't forget about the other book too, Love at Last, if you need that inspiration that, yes, this can happen. Those are true stories of people who found each other after 50. So, Sandy, thank you again. I look forward to our next conversation on Second Act TV.